Hi, I'm Antoinette McDonald. I'm the Program Manager for the WHRE programs here at the University of Louisville. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about writing using the David Kolb's model. And there are several parts of that model that the presenters following me will describe in detail. But I would like to talk to you about this model just in general, because this is the main way of writing critical thinking and reflective papers that you'll use throughout the program here with us. The first step in writing a David Kolb's cycle essay is to write a narrative, usually about the concrete experiences that you have learned or that you have undertaken in the workforce or in your home life. The second part of this is writing a reflection, a reflective observation. You actually sit down, you take a step back, and you look at what you've learned by those concrete experiences that you wrote about in the first part of the paper. The next step would be the abstract conceptualization. In this section of your writing paper, you're going to talk about the concepts that you've learned from your concrete experiences as you reflected on them. And these concepts can range from very narrow kinds of things that you've developed a concept on, all the way to very broad-reaching different concepts. The last area that you write on is actually putting all your work together and taking it to a higher level or a higher plane. The last step of this Kolb's model is called active experimentation. And this is where you would take your learning from this particular class, this particular project, this particular life experience, job experience, whatever you're writing on, and take it to a new level. Perhaps you'd be looking at a new project that you would be doing. Perhaps you would look at a new job that you would be undertaking. If it's a project management kind of thing, you would look at working with additional projects in that. I hope that this overview has helped you. The fellow presenters coming up next will talk very specifically about each one of these different areas of the David Kolb's learning cycle.
Hello everyone. My name is Meera Alagaraja, a faculty member at the WHRE program. I'm going to talk with you about the first stage of the Kolb learning cycle, concrete experience. Now, all the four stages of the Kolb learning cycle are essential. But typically, the learning process begins with a concrete experience. The learning process often begins with the student carrying out a particular action or being involved in a new experience. It is about taking a hands-on approach, or route if you will, to create new ideas for class assignment and implementing them. The student is engaged in the work, actively listening to a lecture, participating in a class activity, asking appropriate questions. At this point, the student is usually not reflecting on the task or assignment. Of course, the concrete experience alone is not sufficient, which brings us to the next portion of the learning cycle, reflective observation.
Hello everyone, my name is Roger Buskill and I teach in the WHRE program. I'm going to talk with you about the second stage of the Kolb learning cycle, reflective observation. To me, reflective observation is a bridge between concrete experience and abstract conceptualization. In concrete experience, you are remembering what you actually did, which is a type of reflection. Concrete experience is a documentation of your work or your actual activities. The important distinction is that observations and reflections are what you noticed about these activities, which puts them in past tense. In fact, it is best to write in first person past tense in this stage. You can ask yourself questions such as, one thing that really impressed me about that, or what I noticed was, or I can say this worked very well, or maybe not well, or this was important to me because. These are the types of questions you will ask yourself as you write within this stage. Putting it in terms of training and development terminology, concrete experience is akin to gathering facts, and reflective observation is analyzing or putting a value on those facts. This is my way of explaining the difference between assessment and evaluation, or in this case, the difference between concrete experience and reflective observation. This stage sets up a nice transition to abstract conceptualization, where you will be transferring your experiences and observations into a new form of thought.
Hello, my name is Jason Curry, and I also teach in the WHRE program. I'm going to talk with you about the third stage of the Kolb learning cycle, abstract conceptualization. Abstract conceptualization challenges the learner to critically consider the application of thought and logic as opposed to feelings to a given learning situation. Planning, developing, theories, realization, and analysis are all part of this stage. To me, abstract conceptualization is about making deep and meaningful connections and conclusions to the learning situation. In the abstract conceptualization stage, you can build upon the insights gained from the first two stages, concrete experience and reflective observation, by asking yourself questions such as, what ideas and insights have I had? What hypotheses, rules, laws, and principles have I formed to explain why this is, why this happens, why this works or does not work? What would also be true or relevant for other persons or situations? How can this be applied? And finally, can I look at my learning experience from a broader perspective and make generalizations from it? This stage, I believe, helps learners to transition to the fourth stage, active experimentation, which involves testing theories, carrying out plans, and influencing people and events through activity.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Krause, and I teach in the Workforce Leadership Program. You may have seen me online or in the classroom for ELFH 300 Prior Learning Assessment. Today, I'll be talking to you about the fourth and final step of the Kolb experiential learning cycle, active experimentation. We began this cycle with concrete experience, or what you did. We then discussed reflective observation, or what you learned. The last two steps in the cycle are when things start to get a little tricky. In the third step, abstract conceptualization, we talked about the synthesis of your learning and we related it to a bigger picture. Now we're going to talk about the fourth step, active experimentation, where you will evaluate your learning and discuss how you are able to use it in other situations. This step is critically important because it links your knowledge from past experiences to your current environment. As adult learners, you bring a wealth of information to the table. As we discussed in ELFH 300, your prior education, work training, and work experience all impact the way you approach this program. During the active experimentation phase, you'll contemplate the usefulness of your knowledge in other situations. Ask yourself questions such as, based on this knowledge, what have I done, or what would I do? Can I make any predictions? Can I test those ideas, concepts, or theories that I developed during the abstract conceptualization phase? How does this knowledge affect or apply to other situations? You'll want to use verbs such as used, updated, applied, implemented, and changed. You might write something like, based on this experience, I changed the way or I implemented, or I used the product of my knowledge when or I applied this knowledge when Active experimentation asks you to put your learning into practice. Remember that the important part about reflective writing is not what you've done, rather it's what you've learned from what you've done, and how you'd have applied that knowledge and improved upon it.
Hi, I'm Rod Githens, and I'm a faculty member in Workforce and Human Resource Education. And what I'd like to do is finish up what my four colleagues have done as far as talking about the four pieces of the Kolb cycle. And the main thing I want to talk about is how you can actually use this cycle in real practice, because sometimes I found that students say, well, you know, the way I really do things in real life, I don't divide out my experiences into four discrete pieces like this. And what I found is that's true. A lot of times we don't. But by going through each of the 4 pieces of the cycle and reflecting systematically on all 4 pieces, we're able to think about how what we've learned in the classroom, how what we've done in real life actually can apply to practice. And oftentimes, if we don't divide those 4 pieces out, we miss a piece, and we don't adequately think about how we can actually take what we've learned and apply it to new situations. And I think that what you'll find is if you're able to do this process well during the program, you're actually going to take it and use it in real life. Now, I know a lot of you aren't going to actually say, oh, let me take a minute here and go through a Kolb cycle, but it's going to become part of your way of acting, part of the sort of normal course of business for you. And I think what you'll find is you're going to be able to improve your practice over and over and over again by really mastering this process in the Workforce Leadership Program. So that's one piece that I think is really crucial. And the other piece about this is thinking about how you can write up your experiences in a really sound way. And the writing piece is really important in our program. And I'd encourage all of you to consider using the Writing Center. It's an excellent resource. And again, you're going to be doing writing throughout the program. And those people who are really able to build on their writing skills and come out of the program having top-notch writing skills are the ones that really take the time to improve their writing over and over and over again. So those are a couple things that I wanted to talk about as far as what you can actually get out of the process of going through these Kolb cycles and how it's going to help you to improve your writing skills that you'll use for the rest of your life. So in summary, the 4 pieces of the cycle are going to help you in real life. They're going to help you to get more out of the program. And by mastering the writing process, you're going to be a more competent professional for the rest of your career. So I'd encourage you to work on developing these pieces over and over and over, and it's going to pay off really in a major way when you finish the program.